Right, we'll move on now to the next session, the impact of international events. I'd like to invite the panel up, please. Jeff Ruffalo, a senior advisor for the 2022 Olympic Winter Games. Mr. Liu Jun, the vice president of China Sports Industry Group. And Mr. Cheng Zhiwen, the vice president of Guangdong Football Association. Please welcome them. 今天这个论坛呢是用中文、英文的，所以不知道有多少人
Today's panel will be instructed in Chinese and English, in both languages, and I think you need a translation headset. And Jeff Ruffalo is going to speak in English.
Unless you're bilingual, you're going to have your headsets available. Now, to set the scene, China's credentials for hosting international events. It started really in 1990, when Beijing successfully hosted the Asian Games. And that was the first major international multi-sports event to be held in New China. Since then, of course, we've had hundreds of events of different sizes, different types, including 2 football World Cups with the Women's World Cup, perhaps best symbolized by the hosting of the 2008 Olympics and Paralympics. Today, China has over 100 cities with populations over 1 million people. And the vast majority of those cities already have excellent international stadia capable of hosting international football matches. So within this base, I'd like to start off, if I could, with Jeff. Impressive history of hosting international events, infrastructure that's largely in place around the country. What do you feel are the major challenges then facing China in hosting, well, let's start with extremely large-scale international events?
You mean the one I'm involved in?
Starting with that one, perhaps.
Something like that. I've lived in China now for 20 years. I've been involved in major sports since the Atlanta Olympics. Hello? In '96. I'm a 3-time Olympic sportscaster for the CBS radio network and served in senior positions here in China. And we have to remember, it's not about big buildings. The Olympic Games and the future World Cup is not about stadiums. It's about the heart and soul and friendship of the Chinese nation. It's about face, respect, honor, and dignity that the Chinese people hold and have held throughout their 2,500-year history. The focus is not about the bird's nest or the water cube. It's not about Tenhurst Stadium in Guangzhou, my home where I live. It is instead about the football academies of the young men and women, 10 years old, 11 years old, who will be playing when they're in their 20s for a potential World Cup. So the secret of success is the soft power of China. It's the human quantity of China. It's the 1.3 billion people that live and make China the great nation that it is. And I would also very quickly say, it's about moms and dads. It's about family. And the secret of China that I have found in my decades here is family. It's about getting the family involved, the aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas involved in supporting their son and daughter in competition. Participation is the secret also of China. We have to get the youth of China participating. Forget about the big buildings, forget about the water cube and the bird's nest. It is instead about the field of play somewhere far away in some city that no one's been to. And that young boy who's running and competing and playing in an academy now, he's the one who will be the future of China for a World Cup.
Okay, thanks very much. 刘总，我们现在有那么多城市，所以他们的体育场的准备情况是非常理想。
So now we have a lot of cities and they have very good stadiums. But for the European Cups and the opportunities for them to play in China is very few. And under these circumstances, what should we do? How can we attract more football matches to be held in China? So for 2 points. First of all, we have very good support from the government, especially for the football and football development. And the government has attached great importance to the football industry, especially after the 19th Congress. And there is a document setting out the long-term plan for the sports and football industry. So based on these beneficial policies, I think there is an opportunity for integration of the world football and Chinese football. And in the future, in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of the facilities, I think we will be able to attract more teams to be held in China, and we're well positioned to do that because we have good financial resources and people support. And in the future, there will be more matches in addition to professional leagues. We want to bring more people in, and we need more exchanges between people, especially starting from the youth and starting from the footballs and professional leagues. And we also welcome friends to support the Chinese football so that we'll be able to work together to create a better future for the Chinese football. Thank you. So in Guangdong, do you prefer to attract top-tier football matches, or will you also consider the small matches at the bottom of the pyramid? So in Guangdong, what's your preference in terms of international exchange? The top matches or the less well-known leagues and the matches? First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this session. And the moderator asked about Guangdong's preferences about holding the events. Of course, we welcome the top of the pyramid. We also welcome the bottom of the pyramid. So we welcome both. And in Guangdong, in terms of professional leagues, we have the largest number of professional clubs. So we have 7 women's teams, and also we have teams from CFA Super League, League 1 and League 2. I think that professional matches and professional leagues and teams in Guangdong have been leading in China. But just as mentioned by Mr. Liu, and the events must cover a huge customer and fan base. So that can provide the support for the top-tier events. And those top-tier events can also help more people to engage in the less well-known events, including the support from the sponsors. And one thing to emphasize is the fans' culture. Whether it's top-tier event or less well-known events, I think the fans' engagement and fans' culture is very important. So I know we have professionals from the sports industry, and we also have fans from different clubs. I think this fans' culture is very important to support the top-tier event and less well-known event. Yes, indeed, it's true. Well, we all agree. We welcome the grassroots, and we also welcome the top-tier event. And I think infrastructure is no problem, because this is a big strength of China. Now we'd like to talk about the impact on the society coming from holding of the events.
After the Olympics in 2009, there was a very interesting conference held at Tsinghua University, a very prestigious university in Beijing. And at that event, leading academics put forward a proposition that hosting the Olympic Games in 2008 wasted an entire decade in terms of sports reform in China. I thought that was a very interesting observation. Now, in the last 3 years, I'm overjoyed. I think everyone here will be equally happy that we really do now have a sports reform package introduced by President Xi. He is without doubt the biggest supporter of football in modern Chinese history. I've researched this quite a lot. It used to be Deng Xiaoping was the #1 supporter in football, but President Xi has gone way further than Deng Xiaoping has in order to help our industry. So in light that in 2008, the Olympics really was a missed opportunity to encourage Chinese people to participate in sport, what can we do now? I'd like to start with 钟总，现在 改革方案出来了啊，现在
So now we have the reform plan set in place, and now the CFA is decoupled with the sports administration. So is it better now? Well, CFA now is decoupled from the government entity. Well, I think it's a big trend going forward, this kind of decoupling, because this will help football to develop at all forms, whether it's at the government level or at the local level, so that there will be more people involving in the all levels of football industry. And in the past, football is only for those that are in the government organizations. And after decoupling, I think CFA will be able to provide more services, including the professional clubs and grassroots clubs, and the adults league and also the youth league, including the administration and training for the football. Actually now, CFA is more international in terms of its remit, and it is more oriented towards the grassroots. So after the decoupling from the government entity, the CFA will be able to support the local football industry and also support the international exchanges. I think CFA will be able to play a bigger role in these areas. That's my personal experience and observation. Thank you. So CFA is able to have more freedom. Because in the past, CFA was doing the task that was given by the government organizations. So in Chinese saying, we're now more connected to the grassroots. And every year we will be holding more events. Maybe the number is bigger than the number of events we held in previous years. And now the football is open to all the people. I think this is something I feel strongly about. For the football to develop, then the football has to be connected with all walks of society and with all the sectors, including the fans' culture, as I mentioned. So fans' culture is something we need to work on, because in the past, people do not take fans of football seriously, but now developing this fans' culture is a major task of CFA. And through the fans' engagement, we'll be able to expand the influence of the local matches. And Mr. Liu, in the past 30 years, China has held many international events. So is it really good for the Chinese people to better engage in the sports events? Do you think those events really do the trick in terms of helping more people to engage? Well, that's a very good question. And now we are fully opened to the world, but there is a certain process. And in the past, we focused on developing economy, and now we focus more on people's fitness and well-being. And second, in terms of commercial operation and market-based operation, in the past, we only had one single model, and now we have a more diversified model. And another point is that after the opening up reform, we've held Olympic Games and Asian Games, and China Sports Industry Group also participated in the organizing of Asian Games in Beijing. And in 2022, we'll be having Winter Olympics, and next year we'll be having the basketball matches, basketball cup. So I think this is a prime time for China to hold the international events. So we hope that we'll be able to develop the cultural industries, leisure industries, and sports industries all together simultaneously. I think sports industry is a very important industry, and now is the prime time for every people to enjoy the benefits of the events. I think that's the trend of reform. And in terms of benefits for China in the future, Olympic has brought a lot of benefits, and we'll be holding the Winter Olympics, and Hangzhou will be holding the Asian Games in 2022. I think through those sports events and through the more people will come to China to learn about China, so that we can develop the society into a harmonious society.
Coming across to you then, there's a question for you. You know, is China ready to accept fans from around the world? I mean, if we project forward, we can imagine a World Cup in China might have 48 teams, 64 teams perhaps even. Is China ready to accept fans from all those different countries coming here for a festival-like experience? Is the software, is the culture ready to receive these type of fans? Or will we have something more like 2008, which was very security-focused, very security-controlled?
Well, we were ready in 2008. We put on a fabulous Olympic Games. We did the same in 2010 in Guangzhou. We had a fabulous Asian Games. But remember, it's not about the big buildings, as I've said. I have a better approach about just the fans, because it's an interior market that China is most concerned about. What if we host a World Cup here and a participating team from China falls flat? What are the ramifications of that for the Chinese nation, for the Chinese people, for the Chinese government? I have a better solution. The solution is to follow Confucianism and wait. Do not put a bid out for the FIFA World Cup right away. We know where it's going. It's Russia, Qatar, possibly the United bid, somewhere else. So what if it happens in 30 years from now, 40 years from now? China thinks 100 years in the future, because it wants to be able to win the World Cup at home. It is not ready now to host that event. It will not be ready now in 8 years. The 10-year-old boys that are competing right now in different clubs are not ready to play for a World Cup championship in 8 years from now or 12 years from now. So what? Let's wait 30 years. That's okay. That's not blasphemy to say that. Because what we need to do instead is to work on the infrastructure of youth football in this country. We talk about 70,000 pitches being constructed in this country. Where are those young men now? They're not born yet. They're not even conceived by moms and dads yet. Let's be patient and wait. Let's follow Confucianism. Let us not be in a hurry. Let us get our youth in place. Let us get the competition between cities in place, not between Manchester United supported team and one from Paris Saint-Germain. We don't need them. We need our young men and women to play here. We need the foreigners to come and mentor our youth instead. Take our young people, send them to Paris, inspire them, show them what a football game can be like for them that they can do in China. It's about China, it's not about the foreigners, it's not about them, it's about us here. I'm proud to live in this country. I'm proud to be a friend of China. But don't push the World Cup onto China. Don't make them force this event. Instead, it will happen organically, appropriately, with great friendship, great men and women like we have here, great officials from the CFA, to build our program up, to make our Super League the best in the world, instead of the foreigners clamoring to have the World Cup. Take it away from us. We're not ready. And when we will be, China will win the world.
Thank you.
China will win the world.
I'd like to come back to the World Cup question at the end of our thing and give the others a chance to join that. But just for the moment, I want to talk a little bit about the regional potential. You know, the Pearl River Delta, and particularly the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Bay Area. Today we're centered on Zhuhai. It's one of the most economically developed regions in China, there's no doubt about that. It's perfectly positioned in terms of infrastructure, again, to bring in audiences from around Southeast Asia and even further beyond. So, 我们现在就说一下这个地区方面，关东、香港。
So when we look at the Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong Greater Bay Areas, so what are the football matches coming to Guangdong? You mean international matches? Yes. First of all, we have this Hong Kong Guangdong Cup with 40 years of experience, and that is a landmark match that has been going on for 40 years between Hong Kong and Macau and has attracted a lot of attention in the local fans. And also we have the Guangdong-Macau Cup, and it's a football match between Hong Kong and Macau teams that is held on a regular basis. And last year in Zhuhai, the China Latin America Cup was held, and Grêmio and Sanchez, the two very famous Brazilian clubs, came to Zhuhai for the match. And also the football match between Germany and also the Netherlands was held here. So we will continue with all those matches this year, and also there will be Women's Cup held in Zhuhai between 4 different countries. This year we are going to hold a lot of similar football events hosted by CFA, and some of them are hosted by the private and local communities in this area. We just talk about the matches between Guangdong, Macau, and Hong Kong. China is a vast country. And how about in North China? You know, North China is very cold, so is there opportunity for the part in Northern China to have its own football brand or football events? I think that is closely related to the different demands and the requirements of fans and also the different parts of society. And when we look at the policy of China, we see that not just Pearl River Delta or South China can enjoy good opportunities, but also the other parts of China, especially the west and northern part of China, should enjoy more opportunities for football development. And also we need to make sure that we can establish more facilities and stadiums in those regions. In China, we have the CSL, and also we have the CFA China League, as well as the China Youth League in different parts of the cities. Still, we do see more opportunities in the Pearl River Delta area and the Greater Bay Area. I believe that in the future there may be more preferential policies for football to develop in the other areas in China, because that is totally in line with the national overall fitness program of China. And you see a lot of big events like the Olympic Games are held in Beijing, and that will also become a drive for the developments in other areas.
So Jeff, you've advised on events across the country, down south, up north, different scales of events. You know, 100+ cities, all of them desperate to put forward their city brand, all of them looking for ways in which they can differentiate their offer. What kind of opportunities do you see for so many cities? I mean, football can't possibly look after them all. Should we be looking, or should these cities be looking for more niche sports that they can call their own? How do you satisfy the demand from 100 cities, all wanting to say hello to the world and welcome, come to my city?
Problem is, baseball won't work here. Football, American football, will not work here. They've been tried and failed. Major League Baseball was a complete failure when they came here 8 years ago. The Olympic stadiums that were competed in, they're trashed. They're completely wiped out. I think that the focus of the new cities of China that would rival the size of Chicago, that are not yet built but will be, that yet don't have an airport, these embryonic areas need to embrace the Olympic sports that have funding and support from the government and focus on regional success. Sports such as volleyball, table tennis, weightlifting, powerlifting, the Olympic sports, Winter Olympic sports, which is what I advocate, that I'm involved in, is at an embryonic stage. And we have to host and compete in an Olympics against the world in less than 4 years. This is a Herculean effort for the Chinese government, but we will do well and we will compete well against the world. So to answer your question, I would focus on the Olympic sports that have funding, support, and a mantra from the central government to do well for China. And all the other sports, like Major League Baseball, sorry, you're out of luck. It won't work here. Focus on what works.
陆总，你怎么看？这么多城市，这么多都要说
So
欢
all
迎
the cities are saying, please come to us, and we all need this name card of sports for our cities. So maybe football alone is not enough. Should we consider the other sports? And I think we need to pay more attention to our own ethnic sports. You see, like horse riding in Xinjiang, and also bow and arrow sports in Inner Mongolia. You see, each region has its own characteristics, and they should focus on that, and they should integrate that into their sports and recreational sector. And of course, it's not just the Chinese cities are fighting each other. Actually, we are fighting all the cities all over the world for the bid of large events. And after holding these large events, we see that the local transportation and also tourism and also the consumption of the host cities will be greatly improved. And for China, the Chinese government also has a staged plan. For example, from now to 2022, we will hold the Asian Games in Hangzhou. After, you see, Beijing has hosted the Olympic Games. And still, we think that the good policies comes from good rules, and good rules comes from cooperation and discussion on an equal basis. So we should pay attention to all the above, like what Jeff Lowe mentioned, like the infrastructure, the airport, rail transportation, and tourism. All the different sectors must coordinate with each other together. And we would like to see any Chinese city win. When you talk about a World Cup, it may be not just in one city in China, maybe different, multiple cities in China can co-host the World Cup.
在广东呢，你们现在也是配合吗？还是
How about the case in Guangdong? Are all the cities in Guangdong fighting each other for the bid of large events? I think we need the top events and also some niche sports events. We need them both because they are very important for improving the city image and also creating the culture of a city. Still, I think each city must try to figure out what kind of sports events they need to focus on based on their own characteristics. You see, China is a vast country, and the different provinces in China, each of them all have its own features and characteristics. So I don't think you need to host all the top events. Of course, we need top events, but still, we need to see what are the cultures and also the demands of the local people, especially the fans. You need to have a big fan base for that particular kind of sport. And also you need to look at the hardware, the facilities of each city. And also we need to pay attention to the grassroots events as well, especially some events held by the provinces at provincial level. And we need to do this step by step. just like what Jeff Lowe said, you need to be ready before you actually go for it. So let's go back to World Cup in China, which you might be interested in.
Coming back to the World Cup and the potential for a China bid, I don't think there can be any doubt really that China is the ultimate destination for the World Cup. And I don't think any problem at all for the infrastructure to be able to host such a World Cup. It has been said that the main reason China has yet to bid for the World Cup, Men's Football World Cup, is lack of confidence in the national team's performance and the utter dread that China may lose face in such a World Cup. Lose in the first round and go out at a bad score. And this is the reason why we haven't had that bid. So I'd like to put it to all of the panelists of how much you agree with that. Jeff, you've already mentioned you think, perhaps we should be waiting, but 另外两人也是提这个问题呢，就是中国世界杯现在做啊，没关系。
Some people would say that, well, we can just go for the bid for the World Cup. It doesn't matter if the Chinese team's performance is bad, but some people would say maybe we should just wait because we might lose face because the national team's performance is bad.
Jeff, start with you.
Yeah, I would wait. I would give it 16 to 20 years away. I would not rush into a World Cup. Yes, the infrastructure is ready today. We have the best hotels, the best stadiums, the best airports, the best airlines in the world. That's not what the World Cup is about. It's about us as people, and it's about our kids playing a game. We are not ready to host. If we play and we lose, the ramification for that, for the sport, could be detrimental in this country. We don't want to risk that. There's no rush. There's no hurry to host. I would give it 16 to 20 years away. Instead, focus on grassroots. Focus on the boys, in this particular case, the boys that will compete for the World Cup. Focus on them, not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. In other words, it's not about us as adults. It's about the kids that are yet to be born. It's about the life and sport and blood of China. That's what wins a World Cup in China. If you compete and lose, okay. But if you hold your head up high and give dignity and honor to the Chinese nation, then you win. That's what it's about.
So 六总现在26年的马上要做决定。现在我们已经从拉美有一些消息说，2030年的世界杯有可能是乌拉圭、帕拉圭、阿根廷3个都一起做。要这样的
News has it that the Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay are going to go for the FIFA World Cup in 2030. And maybe that for China, we have to wait till 2034. And what is your viewpoint about that? I strongly agree with what Jeff Lowe said. China has all it takes in terms of infrastructure, but still we need to wait. First of all, from now to 2026, we see all the candidate countries have come out, and we need to focus more on the Winter Olympic Games that is upcoming. And also, we need to focus more on the youth training. And yes, participation is important, but still we need to make sure that China can become a team in the 32 finalists, right? And we must focus on increasing and improving the capabilities of our teams. So maybe we should wait after 2030. So if you're going to submit a bid for the World Cup, then if you do, then how about Hong Kong and Macau? What role does they play? I do agree with what the two previous panelists. And talking about the bid for the World Cup, all the people would like to see that happen.
And also, people expect that the Chinese football will be able to interact with the world football. And if we are just reactive to embrace the World Cup, then I think we are reactive. So we need to be more proactive to embrace the World Cup. But of course, there is a bidding process for the World Cup, and the conditions we can wait. But we need to have a very positive mind in terms of aspiration for the bid of the World Cup. I think that in turn will help the development of the football industry, and also it will be beneficial for the government engagement as well. So personally, I hope that we'll be able to put forward the bid, so that our industry of football can be elevated, and not just to wait until we're fully ready to put up for the bid. I think in that case, it will not be able to showcase the benefits of the World Cup. And in 1990, Asian Games was held in Beijing, and at 8 o'clock in the evening, there was no people in the street. But still, the Asian Games was held in Beijing in 1990. And I was there, and I could feel the joy of the people and the change of the city by holding the Asian Games. So if we were to wait, then we would have never been able to hold the Asian Games. And I also participated in the 2008 Olympic Games. I think in holding the events would of great significance to the sports industry in China. So we hope that we can put forward the bid as soon as possible. So perhaps, maybe in 2034, we will have the chance to put forward the bid. 2034, do you think? 2034?
You heard it here first. We have 1 or 2 minutes left, so if there are any questions from the audience, we can take those now. Anyone, anything to add? Nope, looking quiet. Okay. With that, then, we'd like to close the session. It's time for lunch. And please thank our 3 panelists. Thank you very much.